This is 30 years of impacting lives, 30 years of singing praise and worship to God, 30 years of laboring in love and sharing the wonder of God with all. The harvest is plenty, and indeed the laborers are few. From humble beginnings to a global ministry, we invite you to witness the inspiring journey of Harvest International Ministries and the power of faith in action.
Over these 30 years, we've had various battles, various challenges, but God has kept faith with us.
Praise God for the grace that is given us, the unction, the favor, the openings that is given us, the strength that is given us.
30 years, 3 decades of impacting lives, transforming destinies, and connecting souls to heaven.
The story of Harvest International Ministries traces its roots to the Calvary Road days of 1977. What started as a singing evangelistic group eventually led to the formation of a church that would go on to impact the lives of many.
Now, Harvest International Ministries originated from Calvary Road Incorporated. We used to be Calvary Road Incorporated, a group which was founded in 1977 by Professor Spencer Duncan. He was then a student at University of Ghana, Legon. He was led by God to gather some boys from Presbyterian Secondary School, forsakes, and some girls from Every Girls Secondary School, and a few colleagues from the University of Ghana, people like Bethel Donko. So they came together and started this singing group, which was Calvary Road Singers then. And so from the onset, Calvary Road Singers directed the activities to the secondary schools. So a lot of secondary schools were approached. We ministered there as for gospel rock shows, musical nights, and we used it to preach the gospel to the students.
As the group grew, the pioneers moved to the universities, graduated, and began working, realizing that they were not capable of satisfying other social demands of their members, such as marriages, child naming ceremonies, and funerals. A need arose to start a place of worship.
One thing that was characteristic of us at the time also was that we had regular camp meetings, and at the camp meetings, that is where we really got galvanized and got direction and a vision for the way forward. And so it was at one of these camp meetings that a declaration was made for us to go to the next level, as it were. And so after that camp meeting, we, the leadership at the time, spent some time by ourselves in prayer, asking for specific direction as to especially what the name of the church should be. And so I quite remember, I think there were 3 or 4 of us who were praying at somewhere around the Labadi beach and asking for God's direction. And when we came together after the prayer, the name Harvest Chapel International came up.
So that is how Calvary Road turned into Harvest Chapel as the church base of the ministry, Harvest International Ministry.
In 1992, Harvest Chapel International was launched at Dansbar. Upon request, Reverend Ogbami Tete's father gave his house to be used for the church's activities.
We started our church services, and the first place that we started our church services was in a place near Dansbar, North Kanishi. We were blessed to have a place. One of our members, the father of one of our members, gave us a property, and that's where we started the whole ministry or church. The whole church services started in the dining hall of the accommodation, the building that was given to us. Just the dining hall, we could sit just about 8 or so people. That's where we started the church. But as we pressed on, people started coming in. So we removed the room divider and added the hall to the dining hall. And then the church kept on growing. So we added the porch to the space for the services. And then we had grown all those space. So we had to seek permission from the owner of the building to put up a shed.
Reverend Ogbamiteta's father graciously allowed for the construction of a shed in the compound to facilitate church services and other congregational activities. This gesture helped the church to continue expanding, with more people joining the congregation. Despite having ministers, none of them were ordained at the time. The need to ordain ministers for the church arose, and 5 ministers were eventually ordained, including Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko, Reverend Paddy Brew of blessed memory, Reverend Emmanuel Titilate, Pastor Joseph Amatego, also of blessed memory, and Reverend Zuta, who is currently the North America Regional Overseer. Crusades were held in villages across Accra and Brong Ahafo region, which helped to spread the church's message.
From there, during the Calvary Road era, we had town branches in Takrady, in Cape Coast, in Kumasi, and in Sunyani. So when we went to church, all those branches also converted to churches as Harvest Chapel International.
We did a lot of outreach in the schools and colleges in the Ashanti and the BA region, setting up branches in some of the schools and then later on in the town. And so when later on the leadership of the ministry of Calvary Road found it expedient to begin to plant churches and reorganize the entire ministry to become what we now know as the Harvest International Ministry. And we were a part of the group, in the region.
As we went on, somewhere along the line, part of the leadership decided to break off and start something else, So unfortunately, there was a little break. And when it happened, we were advised to move off from the premises where we were, so we had to tell our members to try and look out for a place. Getting a place wasn't easy, so we prayed, we scouted all around, went around the whole of Accra, and by God's grace, one person led us to this place where we are now. And this place was a dilapidated local factory building, completely worn down.
In 1998, the then General Overseer, Reverend Paddy Brew of blessed memory, was succeeded by Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko as the new General Overseer. In the same year, a new location was found to sustain the church's activities. As the church expanded, a decision was made to open up the church under Harvest International Ministries, with new branches being planted in Tema, Adenta, Dansoman, Bawe, Ashie, Swapre, and many more, giving rise to the Harvest network of churches.
I joined Harvest when I was on campus at KNUST. So I joined the Kumasi branch over there. And from there, after school, when I came, I live in Adenta, so I joined Harvest Chapel Adenta branch. And I must say, throughout the journey, it's been amazing. It's been very good. It's from Harvest that I got to take my personal devotion life very seriously. I've improved in my prayer life. My word study life has been awesome. And I must say, it's through the church that I've learned a lot about Christ. I was able to speak in tongues in here. So Harvest Chapel has really made an impact in my life.
We have branches all over the country. In Accra alone, we have about 20 branches in Accra.
So this is Harvest Chapel International, Tema, actually the district head office. We've been around since 2002. By God's grace, we have our 6th branch, which is Nungwa, which has just started. And the work has grown from a small number when we started of about less than 20 people to what you see. For me as a person, having worked, through the ranks as it were and raising to the place of a pastor, I must say that Harvest has been my place of growth. I was actually born again through Calvary Road, and this is where I have been discipled, and this is where I have served. And by God's grace, I have had many opportunities to serve in different capacities. And I must say that it is through Harvest that I have discovered my teaching ministry and my shepherding ministry and my ministry to marriages, the marriage counsel that I do. So for me, Harvest is my life. It has shaped my life. It has shaped my ministry. It has helped me to impact people.
Harvest International Ministries is a global religious organization dedicated to preaching the gospel and equipping potential leaders for effective Christian testimony. With a focus on the salvation of the whole person and fostering strong family links, Harvest International Ministries is committed to transforming lives through the love of Christ. Harvest International Ministries is made up of 3 arms: Harvest Institutions, Harvest Network of Churches, and Harvest Missions. Harvest Missions and Harvest Network of Churches is deeply established, with Harvest Institutions in the pipeline.
Harvest International Ministries, as it were, is the umbrella. And then Harvest Chapel or the Harvest Chapels fall under the Harvest International Ministry, because our vision is a global vision. And the direction that God gave to us was for various churches bearing the name Harvest Chapel to be established, to take in the harvest, to nurture, to build Christians of character and charisma, and then using the church as a base to be able to go out in our missions, our medical missions, and God willing, setting up schools, educational institutions, orphanages, and all this will be under the Harvest International Ministries. So today, for example, if we have Harvest Praise, it's under Harvest International Ministries. And so the ministry is the wider vision and the continuing vision. But the church base is what galvanizes the greater vision. And that's one important leg, one important pillar of the vision.
Come on. Give the Lord a dance. Let me see your handkerchief in the house. Are you ready?
What we want to do under the Harvest Missions, Harvest Institutions, is to build schools, institutions, like schools, like medical facilities, clinics, orphanages, all those institutions. We're looking at touching base with the needs of mankind.
The Harvest Network of Churches is a global effort to plant churches in various continents, nations, cities, towns, and villages.
I see Harvest Mission for Souls as an opportunity God has granted us and the ministry as a whole to be partakers in the work that He's doing on earth. We're bringing in mankind back to Himself. So, like Scripture says, we are working in partnership with the Lord, so that just like we were brought in, others also will be brought in.
We have been very much involved in missions, and missions especially to less privileged locations in the country. So today we have more than 20 churches in the northern sector of the country. And these churches are basically being a result or fruit of our missions to those locations, taking the gospel out.
Currently, there are 102 Harvest Chapel branches worldwide, with branches in Ghana, the US, Canada, the UK, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Tanzania.
This is Charles Zuta, the regional overseer of Harvest Chapel International, North America. We started with one branch in North Jersey as our people from Calvary Road immigrated to North America, and that branch became the seed out of which all the other work that we have done so far has originated. Right now, by God's grace, we have 6 branches in Maryland, Virginia, in Atlanta, 2 in New Jersey, and then 1 in New York, as well as Canada.
At Harvest Chapel International, there are several ministries that cater to the spiritual needs of its members. These ministries include men, women, youth, children, and the household of faith. Each of these ministries has its own unique focus and objectives aimed at nurturing and developing the faith of its members.
Harvest Chapel predominantly is a youth oriented ministry, because that's where the ministry came from. Calvary Road, going through the schools, the universities. So that's how the church came, and I think that that's what it is. The role of the church in shaping the destinies of the youth is what I want to talk about. As I thought about the impact of the ministry on the youth in general, I look at my life and what God has done for me through this ministry. As a young man who almost was lost, found Christ, I didn't know anywhere to go, followed my uncle, cousins, Reverend Nana Folsom and Deacon Kojo Folsom to join the ministry. And today, by God's grace, I'm privileged to have the responsibility of leading the youth. My life has never been the same. And if I want to use myself as an example, it tells of what the ministry, Harvest International Ministries, have had on us.
Most recently, we've come out also with an outreach to our community, which we call Feed the Hungry Outreach, where we reach out to the community with free meals. And then we also have added hospital visitation to Feed the Hungry Outreach. So whatever Jesus Christ did, we see ourselves doing it. He went about doing good, and so we go about doing good. He went about preaching, so we go about preaching. He went about healing the sick, so we also go about taking the healing Jesus to our community.
We were yet sinners. He sent His Son Jesus to die for us. And during this time of Easter, we want all of us to remember the love of God. So today, we have come here to show you the love of God. And We have a few items, food items.
Yɛwɔ nneɛma kakra, aduane kakra wɔ
It's
ha.
all free of charge.
Ne nyinaa obi antua hwee
And
yɛde kyɛ.
whosoever will,
Obi a wɔpɛ bi ada.
give you a free meal,
Yɛbɛma wo
give you a
aduane.
bottle of water.
Yɛbɛma wo
We
nsuo.
have prayed specially on it.
Yɛabɔ mpaeɛ agu so.
And as you take it,
Na wofa aduane.
remember that at Easter,
Ayɛ saa Easter.
God showed his love
Afahyɛ wɔ
for you.
Nyankopɔn ɛda ne dɔ adi akyerɛ yɛn.
And that some people came from Harvest Chapel
Ebi bi wɔ hɔnom a yɛfiri Harvest Chapel.
to show you the love of God.
Through these initiatives, Harvest International Ministries is committed to sharing the gospel and meeting the physical and spiritual needs of communities around the world.
30 years is a generation, and now what is the way forward? 2 or 3 important things. This generation, this first generation must impart. So as we go beyond this 30th year, we are seeing a time of impartation, handing over the baton to another generation, lighting up the torch of the gospel of Jesus Christ, striving to have a new generation rising up to do even better than the generation before them. Then what else are we looking up to? As we have crossed the 30-year mark, by the grace of God, we see establishment, structures that are working, succession plans that are practical, making sure that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children come to meet a strong, viral, active, spiritual ministry that they can also pass it on to other generations. So if you ask me, I say the years ahead are years of legacy, passing on the legacy, ensuring that our structures will stand the test of time, and then staying true to the vision of taking out the gospel and remembering what Jesus Christ said in John 4:35, that let us not say that it is 3 months before the harvest will come, or it is 3 years before the harvest will come, but that the fields are white. We should take out the sickle and bring in the harvest. This is our vision.